This video is sponsored by Phoenix Pharos cards. If you need supplies of singles or splits for Cardfight Vanguard, especially the ones in the video, do check out Phoenix Pharos cards today, and as a bonus, use the promo code MetaNerd to get an amazing 5% discount. And with that being said, let's get on with the video. Greetings YouTube, welcome back to the MetaNerd channel. I am Marcus, bringing you another video for Cardfight Vanguard DivineZ. In this video, we'll be going through the 5th quick start deck, that is Cristianos from Stoicheia. Now, I do see people's reaction in regards to this boss unit's skill, and most of them are not really that great. I mean, I understand the skill isn't exactly great in my opinion as well, but hey, it's a really good starting point for newer players despite it being very underwhelming. But of course, there will always be a possibility that a promo card or a support card from the booster set might just save this whole Rideline. I mean, they won't just design a quick start deck if they're not gonna support it, right? Right, Bushy? Without further ado, let's take a look at what Cristianos brings to the table, or in this case, brings to the fleet. First off, we have Seeking Fairy Strobella. Although when this unit is rolled upon by Variety Feast Dragon, draw 2 cards. Choose 2 cards from your hand and discard them. Second skill, Continuous Rigor Circle. During your turn, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Cristianos in its card name, this unit gets 5k power. So I think it's really straightforward in terms of the rolled upon skill. Basically, it allows you to draw 2 cards while at the same time discarding 2 cards into the drop zone. This skill actually lets you like filter out your hand while at the same time dig through your deck for even more key pieces that you will want on your later turns. By you doing this, you also increase the drop zone count, which some skill do require you to have certain amount of drop zone cards in order to even activate their skills, which synergize nicely with this card. This card being a 13k is pretty much standard because each and every quick start grade 1 Rideline do have the skill, so it's pretty much nothing special at this point. By this point, you should know that Cristianos actually revives unit from the drop zone. So in the case of this card being a target to revive by Cristianos skill, I don't think it's a must target to superior call because you have other better stuff to superior call from the drop zone. This is only a 13k. It doesn't really do much in terms of rear guard because you have other better stuff that is at least 13k power with additional skill, whereas this card is basically like a 13k vanilla. That's it. Very sad, but it is what it is. Next, for grade 2, we have Variety Feast Dragon. Although when this unit is rolled upon by a grade 3 card with Cristianos in its card name, choose a grade 1 or less card from your drop and you may call it to Rigor Circle. Second skill, Continuous Garden Circle. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Cristianos in its card name, this unit gets 10k shield. Basically, recalling a grade 1 or less from the drop zone upon riding into Cristianos is just very nice. It basically just combos with Philantia, you know, the grade 1 that on place you check, I think top 7 for a card to be discarded into the drop zone. There are other cards that you might be able to play, which is also a great one if I'm not mistaken. We will talk more about that later in the video, but Philantia is a very nice synergy, and if you just so happen to have him in a drop zone, you can consider calling this out to further filter out your deck of units that you will want into the drop zone, or you know, something that you don't really want into the drop zone. It's also filtering your deck for a unit that is not a trigger. Very nice. With this being a 15k shield interceptor, it's actually not a bad target to be called with Cristianos from the drop zone because 15k shield is just very nice. Depends on how your drop zone looks like. If your drop zone doesn't have a lot of good units, this unit might be the main priority for you to call because of it being a 15k shield. Very nice grade 2. It's just free value out of the whole Rideline for Cristianos. Next is of course the boss unit, Marine General of the Great Sea, Cristianos. Active Vanguard Circle once per turn. Cost Blast 1. Search your deck for up to 1 card with the same card name as this unit. Reveal it and put it into your hand. Shuffle the deck and this unit gets 10k power until the end of turn. Second skill, Active Vanguard Circle once per turn. Cost Energy Blast 4. Discard the top 2 cards of your deck. Choose up to 2 grade 3s or less unit card from your drop and call them to Rigor Circle. Like all of the quick start deck that we have currently, Cristianos will of course have the Personalized Searcher as well as the power bonus by paying 1 Blast, which is very nice. Thing that differentiates Cristianos that we have currently for the quick start deck is that it's not really a very offensive kind of Vanguard, because unlike the other bosses that we see so far, the other bosses basically just allows you to superior call something, be it from the drop zone, the soul, or from the hand to make an extra attack, with the exception of Dragon Empire of course. Not only is this card helping the whole deck to set up the drop zone for potentially good units from the top 2 cards of the deck, you are able to superior call 2 cards from the drop zone back to the field, which is value after value. You can just recall the same unit that was being retired. The The 15k Interceptor grade 2 is the best example here. You can just intercept it away and you can just recall that card with Cristianos every single turn to get the 15k Interceptor on board. But of course, there are going to be better stuff for you to superior call if you want to kill your opponent with this deck, because this deck doesn't really do well in terms of the offensive side. Sure, you do gain a little bit of power in terms of Cristianos himself, but on the rearguard side, I think you will need to add something that increases the power level just a little bit. Because this whole deck is basically a 3 attack deck, every single attack that you dish out with this deck actually matters, so it's generally a good idea to include support cards that increase your power no matter what. It has a lot of board building potential because you can choose whatever cards that is in the drop zone for you to superior call. You can call out the grade 2 Interceptor, you can call out any grade 1 that basically allows you to have draw power. You can recall something that only activates their skill when you personal right. The route that you could take with this card is just abundance. There's no right or wrong way to, you know, board build with this card skill. It's basically up to you on how you want to build your board and how you want your offensive board to look like. I might be a little bit of copium here, but I really do hope that Bushiroad actually introduces something that this whole deck could benefit. I understand it's not the greatest skill out there at the moment among the 6 quick start decks, but I really held up hope. Don't sleep on this deck too much. You could sleep on it for now, but don't sleep on it too much. The other support card that was revealed for Cristianos is Battle Siren Philantia. Although when this unit is placed on Vanguard Circle from drop, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Cristianos in its card name, this unit gets 10k power until the end of turn. She will of course be a 20k to 30k attacker when she's being called from the drop. I mean, of course, the drop zone superior calling skill isn't really specific to Cristianos. There are other cards that basically superior call stuff from the drop zone. This card will of course be the main priority target for Cristianos to call, or any other skills that, or any other superior calling from the drop zone skill. The whole Stoicheia nation do have a lot of them, but it's very limited due to the name restricting requirement. Nothing really much to talk about this card. It's very straightforward. Like each and every quick start decks do have this kind of skill, with the exception of Dark States for some reason. So let's talk about the existing support that we can consider running inside Cristianos. The first card, of course, is the previously mentioned Philander. Not only Philander is able to, you know, set up the drop zone for you and therefore increase the soul count for his own ability, as well as any other cards that depends on the amount of drop zone cards that you have. He's able to just filter out your deck for units that you may want, as well as, you know, get rid of a normal unit card from the deck, which is super nice. Not only that, he himself is an 18k unit, which is a really respectable number. Alongside the grade 2 that you will want to call with Cristianos skill, it basically guarantees like a 38k to 48k column, which is relatively huge, and you can just keep on recalling them for every single turn as long as you don't get retired too much. The next card that we can consider is of course going to be Tightline Dragon. Tightline Dragon is like the main power bonus that you might want, but of course it is a 3 attack deck. It's not going to be that efficient even with a huge power, because you are still only attacking for 3 times. If of course one of the rear guards is able to restand again to hit for more powers, then maybe the more power that you can give to that restander will help out the deck. But as for now, we don't really see a lot of restanders, so the deck is going to be stuck as a 3 attack deck, at least for now. But Tightline is able to just give power for a mere Counterblast. The deck doesn't really use Counterblast anyway, so it's very, very nice, but it is basically restricted to you personal riding, which is not going to be a problem because Cristianos do have the skill that basically search out the personal ride from the deck. So that's that. The other thing about this card is that since this unit is costing 1 soul, you are able to soul blast anything out from the soul to not only give you an option to superior call it to the drop zone, it also increases the drop zone count just so that your other units that requires you to have certain amount of cards in a drop zone is able to activate their power bonus or whatever skill that they have. It's not a bad card to be run inside this deck. It's just free real estate at this point. The next card, of course, is going to be Emilios. Now, Emilios is an interesting grade 1 because not only is this card a 13k unit when you activate his skill, this unit needs to call on top of a rearguard circle that has a rearguard on it. So now, since Cristianos is able to superior call unit from the drop zone onto the rearguard circle, it actually doesn't really matter if this card wants to call on top of something else, because if you plan to play Roaming Prison Dragon inside this deck, you can just call this card on top of Roaming Prison Dragon and Soul Blast 1 to get the draw, as well as being a 13k unit. It's okay, I would say. And not only that, you can always just superior call this card with Cristiano's skill on top of something to get the Soul Blast 1 to draw. It's just very, very nice. It's a very nice synergy in terms to get more draw power, as well as, you know, help set up up the board just a little bit. Depends on how you want to play the deck. It's a very open-ended deck, I would say. The last card that I think can be considered is of course going to be Yolanda. This great one is really nice because this great one is an 18k unit, but of course you will need to retire 2 great one or less cards in order to get a draw as well as the 10k power. I know it's a little bit heavy, but considering that you are able to superior card from the drop zone very easily, Yolanda actually is very nice to just get more hand at the exchange for 2 great one or less unit. It's just very good, and with her being an 18k booster or attacker, it's just very nice. And not only that, once again, she does increase the drop zone count, which might help out just a little bit. And that is all for this video. Do let me know down in the comment section of what you think of Cristianos. It's not the greatest skill that we see so far. It might be very mid but I do help out hope that Bushiroad might just give this card a godsend promo or a card from the booster set. I sincerely do hope that, otherwise it's not looking good. Do like and subscribe if you like this video, and of course during the bell notification icon so that you don't miss a video I upload. With that being said, I'll see you all on the field.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.